Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of your Bish Therapist podcast. As I say it, as the words come out of my mouth, I feel like I'm on some sort of psychedelic induced acid trip, but nevertheless, here we are. Today's episode is technically episode 0 of your Bish Therapist podcast, which in the business means today what I'm going to give you is a small bite of what you can expect from your Bish Therapist podcast. I'm going to introduce myself for those who don't know me, share a little bit of the history of how your Bish Therapist came to be. I'm going to share what you can expect from this podcast. I'm going to also share links and information towards other podcasts that I've done with the beautiful Amy Phillips. And at the very end, share with you my contact information. So here we go. My name is Melissa Reich, and I am a real life therapist. So specifically, I'll share some of my credentials, my education history, because I'm sure people want to know who am I listening to, and make sure that it's not some dummy. And I assure you, I am not. So I have a bachelor's in psychology degree from Penn State University. We are Go Nittany Lions. Also, fun fact, when I went to college, that is where I met my husband, who we have been together since I was 20 years old. So Penn State has a wonderful psychology program, and I just love everything about it. And if you're a fellow Penn Stater, please hit me up. After getting my bachelor's degree in psychology, I realized that I wanted to work in the field to have some sort of real life understanding prior to going to graduate school. So typically people who are going into the field of psychology, they kind of do one of two things. They get their undergrad degree and then go straight to get their master's degree. And then there's people who take a little break, work in the field, and then go to get their master's degree. For me, I felt like it was an important choice to get into the field to kind of understand some of these clinical concepts and how they are played out in real life. You know, things we read in books are just books, and people are very, unique and multifaceted. So I really wanted to do that. I did get a job in the field for 2 years. That was abject torture, which I can discuss that in another podcast. But it helped me realize that I really, really do want to help people. And I knew that I needed to just go ahead and get that master's degree, before I was really able to do the work that I wanted to do. So I went to LaSalle University in Philadelphia and got my master's degree in clinical counseling psychology. There are many different areas of study that people can choose: addictions, family therapy, et cetera, et cetera. For me, I knew I wanted to kind of deal with a lot of it. So clinical counseling psychology master's degree was the degree that I chose. After that, I had multiple internships. And after I graduated, I worked in the field and applied to get my license. So I live in Pennsylvania. All licensure requirements are different in every state. However, for me, I felt getting a license was very important. And, that allowed me to be able to use insurances and things like that. But getting a license is kind of, they really make you work for it, which good, they should. So I did about 3,000 hours of actual, work experience, applied for my license, and then was able to get that as well. So that is a little bit of my history. I've worked in a ton of different milieus. I've worked in inpatient rehabilitation, outpatient rehabilitation. I've worked a lot with addictions. I was a gambling prevention specialist. Most recently, I was in private practice, and currently, this is what I'm doing. So I'm really stepping out of my comfort zone and trying to do something a little bit different. And I appreciate you all being along for the ride. Now, what's in a name? Okay, your Bish therapist it's a very, very funny, cute story that starts with the beautiful, incomparable Amy Phillips. So Amy Phillips, if somehow you're listening to me and you don't know who she is an amazing comedian, and she does housewife voices, and she's an artist, and she was a voice artist, and she does all these really amazing things. She has her cabaret me that she does, and she's just so wonderful. And I've always been such a huge fan of hers when she had her show Reality Checked on Sirius XM. So for those who don't know, Amy called herself your bitch wife. And this was something that came from an episode of The Real Housewives of New Jersey, where Joe Giudice said that about his wife, Teresa. Here she comes, my bitch wife. Okay. So Amy, kind of joked about that. And a couple months before Amy left to do her own Patreon on Drama Darlings, we had been DMing a little bit, and I jokingly it was a one-off comment. I jokingly said to her, hi, I'm a therapist who is obsessed with Bravo, and, I really love you. You can call me your bitch therapist. And she and I just both really loved that, and we ran with it. And my goodness, here we are. Now online, all of my content is under your Bish therapist, because cursing is not going to get me the algorithm that I'm looking for. And in fact, it's probably going to get me kicked off of most platforms. So that is how the name came to be. In terms of plans for the podcast, I have to say that I am just teeming with ideas and creativity, and I'm just so excited. But generally, my mission statement really, because yes, I created a mission statement, I'm such a nerd, is to provide clinical interpretations based on observable behaviors of those in the media, provide psychoeducation on those clinical concepts, and build community as well. I have received a lot of really amazing support from some really amazing people who have shared with me, your post about generational trauma or addiction has really helped me and impacted me and helped me understand what's happening, which completely I felt honored, but I was very surprised. So for me to think that this is another way that I can really try to help people and use my voice, well, I'm here for it. So I'm so grateful for the community that I've built on Instagram. And, I hope to just continue that community here. Full disclaimer, that's really important, because this is going to go for all of my episodes, is that I am not attempting to diagnose or treat any celebrity, Bravo celebrity or otherwise. They're not my clients. That's certainly not my goal. And the same goes for, unfortunately, sometimes people will DM me, asking for help or services. So the position that I'm in right now legally, I can't provide clinical assistance. I'm not currently in private practice, and, that's not something I can do. However, I am here to validate people, to thank them for sharing their story, and to share resources. So rest assured, I'll never share something, or if you share something with me, I may not be able to assist you with how to deal with that per se, but I will help get you to the proper resources, that I can promise. The last part of this is where you come in, the people listening and watching, is I have a lot of fun ideas about how to run this podcast and what to do. I think that, having guests would be very interesting, specifically Amy. And I've connected with a lot of people in the therapy community online. So I feel, having some professionals on who can speak to, certain things, that would be my goal. But what I want everyone listening to this right now to do is to contact me and let me know your feedback. What would you like to hear? I can talk forever. I have the gift of gab, and I could sit here and do a podcast on my own for a straight up hour. But I don't know if that would be boring to people or, get monotonous. I'm not sure yet. So this is all a work in progress, and your feedback is very important to me. So I will share with you where you can give me your feedback. You can find me at Your Bish Therapist on Instagram and TikTok. Full disclosure, I'm kind of geriatric when it comes to TikTok, so I do my best, but Instagram is really the best way to interact with me. The other thing that I'm going to share is I did start an email account, yourbishtherapist@gmail.com. So if you are listening to this and you have thoughts, you have opinions, you have ideas, please give me your feedback. I would love to hear it. And, I would just appreciate that very much. So it's yourbishtherapist@gmail.com and Your Bish Therapist on Instagram and TikTok. I did start a Twitter as well, but it's X now. I'm really teetering about, if that's something that I'm going to continue, but TBD. The last thing is I want to share that I have already done 4 podcasts with the incomparable, amazing Amy Phillips. And those episodes are in the link on my Instagram page. So if you go to my Instagram page and you look at the profile, I do have links to all those episodes. 3 out of the 4 you can only listen to if you are a part of her Patreon. I recommend becoming a member of her Patreon because she's amazing and funny and hustles and puts out so much amazing content. I also understand if you are at max capacity with subscriptions. I totally get both sides of it. So there is one free episode on Apple Podcasts that there is also a link on my Instagram page that you can listen to that. Either way, you can go to Apple Podcasts. You could go to Drama Darlings and search my name, Melissa Reich, Reich, and find all the episodes. So short and sweet for today. Episode 0 in the books. I just want to sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank first and foremost Amy Phillips. She has been my fairy godmother. I've met a lot of people doing what I'm doing now in the Bravo world, and sometimes it's disappointing. And Amy is just a transcendently amazing human being. I adore her, and her fans are amazing, and they've been amazing to me too. And speaking of that, I do also want to give a shout out to some people who've just been very, very helpful and supportive from the get-go. So, thank you to those of you who have supported me and continue to support me. I value you, I appreciate you, and I look forward to many more conversations. So for now, this is your Bish therapist signing off. Have a beautiful day.